Hey everybody, this is Perch. Let's see if this mail drives some kind of thoughtful conversation or just crap. And as it happens, says, "Dear Perch, I'm listening to your show for several years. It keeps me company while I have long commutes. I'm in a place where I have to spend at least an hour in the car. I guess like you, and so your voice has kept me company. You've mentioned before that the show is intended to be like people talking in a comic shop. Mission accomplished as far as I'm concerned. I have a question about AI. Obviously, I've seen the various battles online about AI, how it's taking money away from artists, it's unethical, and all the rest. I agree with that to some extent. However, recently an experience happened that changed my mind about AI and made me think we're in another one of those holier than thou culture war like arguments about AI with very little reason to it. As I mentioned before, I've been against AI initially. I like comic artists. I own several pieces of original comic art. And one of my favorite things is to go to a comic convention and talk to comic artists and see their original sketches. The idea that AI could come along and basically put these artists out of work felt wrong. Companies using AI to get out of paying artists also felt wrong. And we all know that hiring a digital artist to use a computer and prompts will create much lower rates for comics and soulless, unattractive art. Until recently, I believed all of this. Then, a couple weeks ago, the Ghibli craze pushed out on social media. People were taking photos of celebrities and their children and turning them into animated versions of themselves. I noticed in a recent video you did the same thing for you and your family. I decided to give it a try and was really impressed with the results of my wife and three children. It makes my kids look very cute. I didn't feel like I had any ethical dilemma here because I didn't exactly have artists knocking on my door to do portraits of me and my family. I own the photos. I took them. What's the problem? Question mark. Question mark. I inserted that. It wasn't written in there. What's the problem? Obviously, I am not taking money away from the Ghibli studios either. There's not a movie that's going to be made around me and my boring family. However, when I posted these on Facebook, I got an extreme negative reaction. Several of my friends unfollowed me. I had people telling me that I was a monster, that I was taking money away from artists, and I was part of the corporate machine. I felt particularly stung by this because I'd argued against AI being used for commercial art before, but these were pictures of my family. Surely can't people see the difference? I was so surprised by the intense negative reaction, I ultimately deleted my Facebook account. That's another story, but I feel better. I guess you were right about this one too. It's a long mail. I guess you're right about this one too. I still don't want comic companies creating comics with AI art when you have established artists. But now I find myself considering the entire process differently. If someone wants to create original art using AI that's not stealing from another and the person is getting paid well, shouldn't that be the comic company's right? I also have the right not to buy it. I'm not sure. How has your opinion evolved on AI? Do you think it belongs in comics? And what do you think about this entire story? Thanks again for everything you do. Looking forward to hopefully hearing your response. All right. Um, I did a video on AI actually and wound up deleting it because I don't know. It got personal there in an area and I wasn't feeling it. This was several weeks ago. Um, I think we'll get to AI, but before we do, understand at least, and I don't know how the rest of you all feel about this, but there's kind of two topics in your mail. AI is one of them. The other one is just basic human decency. Uh, you know, the funny part about kind of the culture war and the SJW anti-SJW side and everything else is it's not exactly a new thing or a new argument for people to act like a-holes to each other. And bluntly, that's what a lot of it is. I think there's absolutely an argument to be made around respecting legacy characters, getting good artists and writers, even, professional behavior amongst creators. Those are all valid arguments. But a lot of the whole debate turns into tribal, just people poking at each other. And, it's a sanctimonious, holier than thou type feeling. People like to feel better than others. And if I'm being really, really blunt, a lot of the AI conversation feels a hell of a lot more like that than any kind of protection of artists' rights. And I say this because I would, what, like 2 years ago? I don't know. AI was a lot, AI is advancing very, very quickly. But like 2 years ago, I was having a conversation at the Dallas Fan Expo. Yeah, it was 2 years ago. And, the person I was arguing with is, like, really hardcore. AI is sinful, it's awful. Anybody who uses AI should be immediately removed from the industry. They should never get another job there again. And, any no artist should ever work for a company that ever did AI. And the guy's going on and on and on and on and on about this. Simultaneously, while this is happening, there are rumblings that he's not paying his people on time, that he's actually signing contracts and then slow rolling the payments. And then about 2 months later, it came out that lots of people were not getting paid. Artists, not computers. But this guy was all in on how horrible and sinful and a disgusting advent, how awful it was that this would happen, and people should be exposed and punished for using AI. I think at the time somebody in DC, like in the marketing department, had done an AI background. I mean, there's some like very, very minor use of AI that had happened in one of the companies, and he was just going off about it. But at the same time, he wasn't paying his own people. So is that hypocritical? Yeah, yeah. I mean, to say this technology is going to destroy the industry, it also is going to destroy the industry, not paying people. So I think, and I've had conversations, with like it was Ben Templesmith, who's a great guy, and God help us if AI can ever mimic his style. That's I love Ben's style of art. And we're talking, and he's normal, by the way, about I mean, just doesn't like aspects of it. Not a crazy person, right? I'm not gonna. I don't want to go all into his point of view, but basically, not a crazy person is the headline there. Um, and you can have normal conversations around AI and where it can be used, where it shouldn't be used, and all the rest. But at the same time, any normal person would say that a publisher or an editor, not acting professional, not getting back to people, not paying people, signing contracts they know they're not going to honor. That how is that better exactly than AI? How? Anyway, so a lot of what you're talking about in the mail is just humans being dicks, and you people who are your friends now excommunicating you because you posted some pictures of your family using AI. I mean, good Christ, it's just stupid. It's stupid tribal nonsense, and a lot of it is done to just make themselves feel better at your expense, make themselves feel superior. The other topic around AI, in general, I mean, AI is advancing. And at this point, if you are not familiar with it, haven't used it, don't know how it works, and particularly if you're under the age of, say, 40, you're absolutely, it's like saying, I don't want to learn how to read. You need to understand it. It's such a powerful part of the future. Sorry, it just is. It's a tech advancement. I'm sure there were a lot of horse breeders who were like, no, the advent of the car is wrong. It's going to pollute things. And, we need to stick with horses. I mean, that's nice, but that's kind of the moment we're in right now. AI is absolutely going to be a big part of our tech future. And I mean, if you're put it this way, I mean, do you use Google? Do you use a search engine? You won't in less than 5 years. The biggest threat to actually Google's dominance around search and advertising is that AI is capable of doing that today. I mean, we debate AI isn't ready to do full comics right now, but AI can absolutely largely replace your search engine now. And I mean, you could do logical AI based advertising on that. This is going to take down Google's business unless they can buy their way in, and it's hard. They let too much time go by. Anyway, it is essential. For what it's worth, I would love to see somebody. Although I believe you, I mean, I understand. I posted a picture up on my family in AI, and I had 2 or 3 people, like, just sit and write the nastiest, so bad, I mean, that YouTube held it for content, and, I mean, I don't know, I can't tell exactly what YouTube decides to hold and not hold, but, you know, calling me the C word over and over again is a good way to do it. That YouTube will likely flag that. But I mean, look, it is, I'll say the same thing you did. It's my photo, my family. I want to see what they look like Ghibli children. I guess I could have, flown to Japan, go to the Ghibli studios, taken some photos, said, hey, how much do you want? Would you be willing to animate my family? I'll sign a contract. Yes, I could have done all of that, but it's not commercial artwork. I'm not selling the art. And you may say this is a cope, but okay, so be it. It's a filter. I also have used Photoshop for years to open pictures of my family and adjust the levels and curves. Nice. No, no, not like that. Just to change the saturation, the coloring, and everything else. I've taken pictures of my children. I've made them black and white using photo tools. Should instead I have gone to a digital artist and paid that person to do it? I mean, this is software. That's what it does. So, you know, I, I don't feel bad about that. I do think there's a major difference between using filters and things on your personal photos for personal use and trying to make an entire comic where you're telling the AI, "Hey, make this comic in the style of Jack Kirby." I think those are two very, very different things, especially if you intend to sell it. But again, that second one still going to happen, and so you're that's there's such thing as you can own an original Jack Kirby or you can own something in the style of Jack Kirby. That's how it's going to evolve. We can hate it, but it is going to happen. So I mean, with AI, look, I've talked about this in the past. I think AI still has a major problem in coming up with stories and images and tying those images all together and keeping consistent art style and everything else. And that's it. It's not. It's going to be tough to get the kind of soul to the art that original art can create. And I think a lot of people buying comics, do respect the artist and do respect having original art. I do. I buy a lot of original art myself. I like it. But to basically kind of portray somebody using AI or AI as the tool of the devil is that's again that's too far. Strong artists, good artists with work ethic will be able to sell art, will make progress on it. Um, you're not going to see a comic convention where, we don't have Artist Alley anymore. Instead, we just have a bunch of people with computers and you walk over there and kind of give it a prompt and they print out art for you. That nobody wants that. You can't go up and get an autograph from Google Chrome to sign your AI piece of art. It's part of the process. It's like you have travel videos you can watch on YouTube. You can go home, you can put it on the TV, you can see what Costa Rica looks like and experience it on your TV, or you can go to Costa Rica and experience it in real life. Those are two different things. It's better to experience something in real life and immerse yourself. But no one in their right mind would say that the videos of Costa Rica should be taken down because they cheapen the experience. I mean, look, you're talking about tech advancements. They're going to happen. And I think like a lot of things, if we've seen over the last 8 years on social media, we've just seen people bleed out the same silly nonsense like tribal seals, based on whatever the cause of the day is that they want to care about. Oh, NFTs. Oh, anybody who uses an NFT should never work in comics again. Okay, thanks. Thanks, Alex DeCampi. Great to hear from you. Let's create good work. I'm not saying everything will work out for everyone, nor am I saying that AI isn't a threat to some artists' livelihood. I mean, the most obvious threat you could see very, very clearly is, colorists for comics are in trouble. That's an area where, AI can do a lot of damage very, very quickly. But people are still going to want art. They're still going to want styles. They're still going to want care. It's still going to happen. I'll leave you with this in terms of comic books, directly. And I'm not saying there's no difference. There is a difference, but I'll be a little extreme here. If you're Marvel and you basically were using artists, in the US and you're paying, yeah, good money. Let's say you're paying, but we'll go extreme for simple. You're paying $250 a page. Okay. And you're getting, or $500 a page, and you're getting artwork from people in your community, people in New York, people in Brooklyn. And then one day you're like, you know what? I found some artists down in Brazil, in Argentina, in Ecuador. Found a nice artist in Ecuador. He'll do the thing for a US dollar equivalent $20 a page. Now the art doesn't look anywhere close to as good. There's nothing particularly memorable about it, but it will, you'll fill the comic and $20 a page. How much better is that exactly than using AI for an artist? No, you can. No, I'm not saying it's equivalent, because you're still paying a human being to make art, and when you pay that human being to make art, and they do a lot of it, they probably get better. So I'm not saying it's exactly the same, but to, taking a trained comic artist, and these conversations have been had. Taking somebody who's actually got 15 years of comic art experience, who does great work on titles, and and their style is really great, but you have to pay them, decent money. Taking somebody like that and then having a mission to replace them for somebody, 1/20th of the cost, who, doesn't have the art is completely bland and unmemorable. Um, is that good too? I mean, I guess the guy in Ecuador gets some money, but I mean, how how is that how is that not cheapening comic art? Thanks for listening.